Hello, Bossabilities, and welcome to our first podcast for Bossability, Life, and Leadership. Today's sponsor is Coco Soul Chocolate, the new rebirth and rebrand of our beloved Miss Bailey Brown chocolate. And speaking of new seasons, this brings us right into our first episode. The time to start is now. If you're listening to this, you're probably thinking of needing a push to start something in your life that you've been putting off for a long time. Well, congratulations! You've already taken action in the right direction to want to be pushed or nudged to take action on that thing or those things in your life. Today, I'm going to help organize your thoughts on what to do next. I've started so many things in my life, big and small, from starting a workout routine to opening a small business. Starting something goes back to being a baby and deciding for yourself to crawl, walk, and run. It's when we start something and fail that changes everything. We are hardwired to protect ourselves, so starting something becomes a risk of failure, embarrassment, and disappointment. Those three words, failure, embarrassment, and disappointment, amplify the power other people have over you. You care what other people think of you, but there is a line that's crossed where fear takes over. People who know me would call me fearless when it comes to starting things because they see the results. Many entrepreneurs and leaders make things look like it's easy and seamless, but we too have fears before we jump. It took me almost a year before talking into a camera for Miss Bailey Brown Chocolate social media. Back in 2015, I started a gourmet chocolate business and was well aware of marketing online. But before that, I was teaching Latin dance and Zumba fitness. I didn't have to say much to promote my classes. You could see the amazing and fun dancing, and you can hear the really upbeat and crazy fun music. My chocolate business was from scratch, so I would need to educate my target customers about this new brand. I was terrified with a sinking feeling in my gut to record into the camera. I didn't like the sound of my voice and seeing myself talk. I wasn't confident to do it, and I was probably afraid of something. So how did I move forward and end up making hundreds of social media posts with talking in it? My business was already started. The time to start the posts with talking in it was right then, during the first year of business. I just had to get started. Here's how you can get the wheels rolling. 3 things to examine. 1. Identify what you're afraid of. 2. Identify whose opinion matters. And 3. Identify what would happen if you don't start. Okay, so let's dive deeper into those 3 points. Number 1, identifying what you're afraid of. I figured out that with my personality, being an extrovert and speaking, instructing the public and singing and dancing, I've done that several times. But I felt uncomfortable talking into a camera and not to actual people. People give me energy, and I could see reactions and how people received what I was doing with a live audience. With recording only myself by myself, I would identify my fear as not knowing right away if people would like or dislike what I'm doing or saying. When you identify your fear, you can work on building up the resistance to it. I had to just do it, feel uncomfortable, and get the reaction or feedback that I wanted at a later time rather than instantly, but it would still come. Number 2, identify whose opinion matters and why. Who are you impressing or helping? Who would you disappoint or upset? Who comes to mind? It could even be yourself for starting to pick up your dirty clothes. You'd be able to see your own floor, which could lead to more victorious, clutter-free space. Then you'd be impressed with yourself. If you're about to start a business, though, this affects many people. Make a list of family and friends and who your target audience is. This is the beginning of your marketing. This is the list of people whose opinion matters. In order to start that short-term task that you've been putting off, or a long-term big idea and dream that you want to start, people do matter, but if you're afraid of what they think, you're the only one who is going to make these things happen. So you just need to start. Number 3, identify what would happen if you don't start. If I didn't start to talk in my videos, a few main issues would have happened. For starters, my marketing would not grow followers on an authentic, personal level. My business would not increase revenue if I did not do the work to communicate my own brand effectively from scratch. For myself, I would stay scared, I would stay comfortable. And one main takeaway is, if you don't do it, someone else will. Or if you don't do it, maybe no one else will. If you have an idea to contribute to this world and you don't do it, maybe no one else will. And that idea is not out there helping someone. Something else that would happen is if I would take a risk of this not happening by not doing my videos, is people who already know and trust me would be more likely to buy my product faster by seeing me online with my product, therefore becoming a word-of-mouth marketing channel. So if you don't start to do something, you're not building trust out there to have progress. Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, says, "The biggest risk is not taking any risk." Write down what would happen if you don't start. How's everybody doing? Okay, the time to start is now. We talked about starting, not starting, and why. Let's talk about now being a good time to start. You probably have at least one big thing or several small things that you keep putting off. Now that you're going to consider examining the fear behind not starting your thing, let's say you've grown confidence and now you have to take action. At this point, you probably are feeling pressure, which could now act as another way to back away and abort your mission. Let me first take some pressure off. You don't have to have your end result in an instant. If you can instantly go and pick up your dirty clothes and put them in the washing machine, then by all means, pause the show and go start right now. I'll be here when you're done. That would be victorious and you would accomplish your goal. For your idea that is ready to burst out of your heart, don't put it off any longer. Here are 6 tips to organize the initial timeline and action plan for short-term and long-term ideas. Okay, let's start with short-term. These are quick tasks for quick achievements and habit forming, things that we can easily procrastinate on. Number 1, add your task to your reminder on your phone or calendar and add an alert. Number 2, make a task a priority and at that scheduled time, make sure there's no distractions. Number 3, complete the task in a set amount of time and celebrate when you're done, big or small. For your long-term invested goal, something that would take more consistent attention and is a big idea, create a folder in your phone or on your desktop and name it. Number 2, write or type out your idea, knowing that no one is judging you. Number 3, type and write out a timeline of your first 5 actions that you want to accomplish for this goal. Starting something that you've been putting off for a long time takes courage. When you start from your own courage and discipline, your motivation will come from your progress. And you can quote me on that, Cha Romero. The time to start is now. Thank you for joining me on my first Bossability podcast, which is a direct result of following my own advice. I had this idea 6 years ago to start some type of leadership business and mentorship business so that I could just be able to share everything I've learned with you. The first 3 identifiers and the short and long-term points that we've made earlier are available to download in PDF form on bossabilitylife.com. Sign up for free membership and download your free PDF notes for this podcast. We will see you next time, which is every Monday at 8:30 a.m. We put out a brand new podcast, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you then. You are a bossability, so get out there and ignite, illuminate, and enlighten the world.